Today, I'm excited to have gotten some time with my good friend, Russ West, to talk about what does it mean to be a table host? What are those responsibilities? Russ is one of the few table hosts at the inaugural First Coast Prayer Breakfast who've actually done it before. Russ has hosted for how many years?
26 years.
26 years at a marketplace prayer breakfast in Atlanta where we met. And I was also a host. But I thought it would be good to have Russ talk about what it means to be a table host. Russ also has some colleagues here in the First Coast Marketplace, so he decided to become a table host here at our breakfast as well. Russ, how do events like the prayer breakfast in Atlanta and now the First Coast Prayer Breakfast play a role in being a marketplace minister?
Yeah, it's been a great role. It allows us to, in a non-threatening way, invite non-Christians to a Christian event and get to hear the gospel, right? Because you can tell sometimes they're a little, when they hear prayer breakfast, why would I come to a prayer breakfast if I'm not a Christian? And, we would always say, you're going to love the speaker, you're going to love the networking, just trust me. But first I had to build that relationship.
So, talk about how you decided who to invite.
Well, it starts with, prayer, always asking God, who should I invite? Because it's always easy to invite the Christian friends or
Yeah.
the ones that are.
That is not table host. That's not who we want at this breakfast.
Yeah.
If you invite your Bible study friends,
Yeah,
they're taking a seat from somebody that needs to hear the gospel like me years ago.
yeah, exactly. So for me, it starts with prayer. God, who should I invite? And, he'll put on our heart, I found, or put them in our way. So it starts with prayer and then putting a list together as names come. And then throughout the year, praying over that list, and then praying who else should be added to the list.
And so, talk about when you make the invitation. What do you say? You mentioned a little bit about that.
Yeah. I just always say, look, would love for you to join at this prayer breakfast, because go ahead and tell them it's a prayer breakfast. But I said, it's not probably what you think it is. It's not a holy huddle. It's not a bunch of Christians getting together, trying to, put your arm behind your back and say, you got to be a Christian before you leave today. Right. And I say, look, you're going to come and you're going to hear an incredible speaker talk about, what helped make them be successful, their journey. Their faith will be part of it, and it's always been one of the best networking events. Say, look, in worst case, you're going to have a great meal, you're going to meet some great people, and you're going to hear some great stories.
Yeah.
And so it's worked really well.
Yeah. Wow. Well, and so they come, they turn up at the breakfast, and like you said, it's huge. Most people, when I would invite, they think two things. I find one is that it's this small, intimate thing where they're going to have to pray, and I always say it's an enormous event. You have no idea how big this is,
Exactly.
and you're not going to have to pray. It is a prayer breakfast,
Right.
but you're not going to have to pray.
Right. That's great.
So, have you had people at your tables over the last 26 years take a step towards Christ?
Yes, I've had several that have accepted Christ at the event. I've had several that, hey, I would like to learn more. I remember one of my customers one time afterwards, he came up for 3 years. He declined my invitation. And the fourth year he accepted. And afterwards he came up to me and he said, Russ, okay, can we go to lunch and you tell me who this Jesus really is?
A customer.
Yeah.
Amazing. So invite them, whoever it is, your coworkers, your employees, your boss, your
Yeah.
customer, your partners, your vendors, whoever it may be that God puts on your heart to invite, and we'll take care of the rest. You just make the invitation, and they'll get there that morning, and we take care of the rest. Now, Russ, so post breakfast,
Yes.
anything that you do that to follow up with folks after the breakfast?
Yeah, absolutely. So try to follow up with each person and ask them, hopefully I can go to lunch or coffee with them, but if not, over the phone, but really try to get with them and ask them, what did they get out of the prayer breakfast, and ask them for feedback. And because I'm trying to, as a workplace minister, build relationships. So I'm hoping I have enough relationship where I can ask them, give me honest feedback on it. And then I try to get them involved depending on where they are. We have a Bible study that we've spun off from the prayer breakfast. And so invite them if they want to get in a group Bible study, or if they just want to meet one-on-one and study the Bible. But just really try to figure out where they are after the prayer breakfast and their journey. whether they're curious or whether they like want to, like the guy that said, "Tell me about who this Jesus is." He wanted to jump in deep. Well,
You said something to me last night, Russ, that I want to make sure we communicate to the table hosts that have never done this before. Um, you said that you thought that being, living out the Great Commission in the marketplace was that you had to get them across the line. It was your
yeah,
job to get
yeah,
them.
yeah,
You had to share the gospel. You had to get them to
right,
accept Christ. And
right.
I think it was a bit, and it was for me too, a big
Uh,
weight off when you realize all your job is to do is to glorify Him.
Uh,
And
yeah, I love it, and so I thought I was the guy that needed to get on the plane, and before we landed, I had to have them,
yeah,
they accepted Christ. And what I learned is, first of all, nobody accepts Christ without God, and so
yeah.
it's all Him, not me. And our job is just help them take one step closer.
Our job, just get them there. The gospel will be shared. There'll be an invitation for those that God has been working on, and but for those that aren't there yet, there will be other steps. We'll have a Bible study that people can step into, and for other people, it's just a seed that gets planted. I've had people that have attended for 10
Right,
years prayer
right.
breakfast with me before they took another step. That's all our job is. Just get them there in the morning, and we take the rest of it. And as you said, this is the easiest way to share
Absolutely.
Jesus in the marketplace.
It's so helpful, and as Jesus said, that I came to serve and not be served. And so all we have to do is serve our colleagues, our bosses, our customers, prospects,
Yeah.
partners. Just serve them and invite them, and God will do the rest.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Russ. I'm so grateful that you
Thanks
got
for
to
having me.
share.
Can't
Yeah.
wait.